Hello and welcome back to Holopon Solo Sagas. So today we are continuing Orc Borg. Now all of our lovely little orcs, they all got killed last session, so we can't use those anymore. Grishnak and Snirg and Zern, they all were no longer for this world. And so what we are now going to do is we're going to zoom out and then focus back in to also. Well, it doesn't actually matter where in the Derelict, but what we're going to do is we're going to circle onto a group of 2 plus a D2 to 4 orcs who we will quickly generate, and we'll generate their names first, and then we'll generate the names of all 4, and I will then go back through, do the stats of all bar 1, and then come back and rejoin you. And we are going to visit the Maiden's Lament, because since last episode I have done what I have done, and when this episode airs, version 2 of the GME will be released on drive-through and iCho. If you have already purchased it, then you will get it at the same, you'll get the upgrade, but otherwise I'm going to rack the price up by 50 Australian cents, most likely, even though it's worth more, the amount of effort I put in. So I've got all the tables for Maiden's Lament, which is, I will read you the description of the Maiden's Lament. Maiden's Lament, well, jump the gun, as I always do. So within the book, Orc Borg core, we have Maiden's Lament, abandoned space elf ship, bountiful, organic, hungry. Mine. The Maiden's Lament, a once proud elven warship, now a rotting wound in the Derelict. Vines creep through shattered halls, pulsing with stolen life. The elves who survived have gone feral, their bodies twisted by the ship's hunger. Deep within, the maiden endures, a lich queen of withered grace, her whispers carried on the damp air. The plants obey her, the dead do not stay dead. The ship feeds, and those who linger too long become part of it. The Maiden's Lament. A derelict, a wreck, within the Derelict. So that's where we are going to send our people. They're going to go into the Maiden's Lament, go on to board that ship for some reason. So first off, let's generate some names of our orcs. We will have, so as per the GME, we roll a D20, a D6, a D4 and a D12, and we will generate some names. So we have a 7, we have Zorlog. D6, what do we have? Sorry, we got the D6 is 1 to 3, so 1 to 3 first set. D4, 4, Bone. D12 is a 4 again, Bone Gravy Beard, so he's got bones and gravy in his beard. Zorlog. Next we have Mork of the Nosebiter. So obviously his mum was a bit of a nosebiter. Grok, devourer of dreaded geese. Right, we've got our 4. What I will do is is that 3 or 4? That's 3. That's 3. I can't be bothered doing the 4th. Join me in a second, and I will have their stats all done, and I'll describe them to you. And then we will generate the mission, and we will go on a quick raid in the Maiden's Lament. Alright, back. All 3 generated. Didn't take very long. We have Mork of the Nosebiter, as discussed. 8 hit points. Wears a power rig. Only has a knife. Carries a drum, cigars, some hooch. Has a good strength. Everything else is 0. Strength is +3. Mork used to work in one of the big robots, got torn out, is covered in scars, really wants to go back to being in a big robot. If you can find a big robot, he will be happy. Next we have Grok, devourer of the dreaded geese. Grok was hunted by wild humans across in the Tomorrow. Had his hand removed and replaced with a cutter. Grok has 4 hit points. He wears heavy armor. He has an auto-mangler affixed to his heavy armor, which is like a massive thing with all hands that comes out and mashes stuff up. It's 2-handed. Because he lost one of his hands, he attacks at DR 16, but it does do D12 damage. He carries all sorts of cables, all sorts of wires. He has a big hat and a boombox, and he has 0 in everything, which is hence his 4 hit points. Next we have Zorlok Bone Gravybeard, if you remember Zorlok. Zorlok is a priest of the Antifreeze cult. If you remember, one of the other 3 from the last session came out of an Antifreeze cult. This was the priest of the Antifreeze cult. He is almost square shaped, he's as wide as he is tall. He carries hooch, spray paint, and has a prayer head pop, which is, if he can see it, he rolls a presence test, which he's got +3 in, at DR 12, and he does D10 damage and makes their heads pop. He's got 10 hit points. Only wears robes, so has no armor and has +1 attack. This all rolled. He's really good. +3 presence, 0 strength, +1 agility, +3 toughness. So though he carries a smasher and basically a massive spanner, which does D6 damage, doesn't use it very often, will mostly use the prayers, which he has 6 of usage in a day. And that is the 3 of them. They are going to go to their clan chief. We'll basically join them as they're entering the Maiden's Lament, but they need a job. So we're going to turn to page 29 in the core book, where there is 10 choices for jobs, and we will randomly roll one of them, which is number 7. Is that what we had last time? It was. Destroy an alien dog beast hive that's producing dangerous mutants. I don't think they'd care about that in here. 1. Storm a cursed 7-hole stronghold where they bargain with demons. That is fine, but they are storming the Maiden's Lament. Their job is to get into the Maiden's Lament and get something out. Maybe they're just told to storm it. Go raid it. Go raid it and pull out something which is Maiden's Lament-esque. I haven't done lists. I haven't done some tables of loot and artifacts. I will endeavour to do that for version 3, loot and artifacts, and I'll make them. I'll do some of the areas for loot and artifact. Maybe I'll do a table for loot and artifact for each of the areas within the whole and amend that in. So they are being sent in to raid. It's just a raid. They're just basically being told, go raid. So job, go raid the Maiden's Lament, and they'll get paid 300. For 300 TK, they'll go and raid the Maiden's Lament. We're going to say, has anyone got power armor? I don't know if anyone's got power. Oh yeah, of course. Mork has a power rig. We're going to say Mork's got enough, because I didn't roll people's money. Mork's got enough stuff to power his power rig for this raid. If it goes on for too long, then we'll say that it fails. So we now need to turn to page 10, and we've got to decide how many steps we've got in this. We can just do the same as we did last time. There's 2 steps to it. Basically, one is getting in and one is getting out. There we go. So there's 2 steps: get in, get out, and that does it, which is the proper nuisance. So it's only when it finishes do we decide to then roll on what that is. So next we need, because we're going raiding, so as we're going to go raiding, we need to decide. That's the areas of the derelict. Where's our raiding? Pages of enemies. I did some new monsters, enemies. Here we go, raid moves. So what we need to do for raiding is we need to decide on the DR of the raid, which is how difficult it's going to be. We could go for a bigger one, so we can have the raid is DR 12, and how difficult is it? Well, Maiden's Lament is not an easy place. It's not easy peasy. I reckon it's also a TR of 12, so it's a difficult. So the Maiden's Lament, I imagined it based on that description within the core book as being overgrown. So it says abandoned space elf ship, bountiful, organic, hungry. The words bountiful and hungry made the idea of a jungle, because the one thing about a jungle is you can survive in a jungle. There is water, there is food, there is the ability to survive. It is a bountiful area, but it is hungry. The jungle will take you if it can. It will provide you everything, but it will take you. There are insects, there are creatures, there are venomous things. The jungle isn't a nice place to be. So I imagined the Maiden's Lament as some form of jungle area. So they're going in, we've got a DR of 12 and a TR of 12. So we are moving in, we will say, who's going to lead? I reckon, well, I think what we're going to have is we will have Zorlog, our priest, is the one who's going to step forward the most, because Zorlog does have powers to make people's heads pop, which might make Mork and Grok not really necessarily want to argue, you know, everything about him. He's also got presence, toughness and agility, where the rest of them are just very average. Even though none of them have ranged weapons, they've all got melee weapons. None of them have anything that's ranged at this point. So they will go off. So what we do for our first thing is we make our raiding move. As we've decided, we go a raiding, which is we roll 2d20. We add the number of special areas we've found, which is 0, as we enter through a crack in the wall of the Maiden's Lament into this hot, sweaty environment. There are vines in different places. There is open crevices. I'll stick the picture up that's from the book that I did for what the Maiden's Lament looks like. So we have 12 is our TR is 12. We have no special areas, so that is a fail because we don't make a 12 on either. So it's not even a weak hit. This is a foul. So what we've got for our raid is a trap, an encounter, or some environmental hazard overcomes us. After dealing with this area, roll for the hit again. So we will go on our fail. So what we've got, we've got either a trap, an encounter, or some environmental hazard which hits us. So we'll use a D table, we'll use a D6. So there's a weak hit table. We're just going to use the weak hit table and see what that comes up with. We've got a 4, which is a common encounter. Now what we didn't do for this is I haven't done a common encounter and a rare encounter table. So give me a second, I will generate a common encounter and a rare encounter table. Alright, so I've generated a common table. So there is a creature which moves around. I'll put it up there actually, rather than from the book, because I've just printed it black and white. So the colour picture of the Trifed, not a Trifid, because apparently I might not have the rights to use the word Trifid, but a Trifed. So a Trifed is number 1 for the common, and number 6 for the common is medical supplies. Number 1 for rare is a lot of Trifeds, so that's D4 Trifeds for the common, D6, let's go D6 plus 1, that's difficult for the rare, and number 4 for the rare is a random gun because they haven't got any guns. So that was a common encounter, so we roll a D6 again. We have 2, we haven't got anything for 2, so we're going to use the Maiden's Lament enemies table, which is a D6, a 4 says a D6 Trifeds, this book. So a Trifed, a sentient plant that stands tall, its sap-laden petals unfurl as it sniffs the air. With slow, deliberate movements, it glides through the jungle bed until its prey is within striking distance. Hit point 7, no morale. It has an tough outer husk, so minus D4 armor. It's got a poison strike, D4 damage plus special, which is a save against the DR10 or become infected. It also can do short range poison spit instead of whacking out, which is a D4 damage. It's minus 2 to hit, so it's a DR10 to dodge it because it's a bad shot, so it does D4 damage. You can get money for a Trifed. If it's whole, it's 150 tech, just the head will get you 15. So we will have, so we've got a D6 Trifeds, which is 1. So 1 Trifed, this is not going to be difficult to wander in. So 1 Trifed wanders in, so we'll go HP 7, minus D2, and it's got a D4 whack. Well, they're going to have to come into hand to hand with it, and that will be, because it'll be here open anyway. So let's roll a description. So this is as they walk in, so as they go in, let's just roll an area description, which is a D8. 6. Rotten banners, elven script faded under moss. Okay, so as they enter in through the opening in the side, I'll put the picture up from the book. There's a bit of a tunnel. It's got ancient work, sort of gothic-y metal work, but it's a jungle innards. They're splashing through water as they go through, with Zorlog leading up front. Now maybe Zorlog is carrying a spray can, which he'll spray on the walls different tags about the antifreeze cult. They can see these rotten banners. Actually, the image that I'll put up does have like a sort of vine hanging across the top, which could be banners, with faded mossy script as he moves through into the steaming hot part of the jungle, and without them noticing. Well, let's make him make a presence check. So he's got +3 presence. Which is give us a 20, so that's definitely. Oh, we could do it. We'll do it this way. So he's got +3 presence. We'll make it a TR of 12 because that is the toughness of the bit. He's got +3. That's 20. So it's a weak hit. So we will say that it doesn't get a free hit on them, but it attempts to. So it attempts to dive in and get them, but with a weak hit, it's just an initiative roll between the two of them. So he'll have to make an initiative roll. He's got an agility of +1. He needs to get a 12. He gets a 9. The Tri-Fed gets the jump on them. We'll go D3, first one, which is Zorlog, who comes out front. They don't notice it because it blends in with the background, but it sort of slides forward and it swishes to try and whack them with a poison strike. Zorlog needs to make a DR12 to dodge this poison tongue thing that lashes out and tries to catch him across the face. He's got +1, so that's a 6, so missing, which means that he's got no armor. He's got 10 hit points though, so that's all right. So a DR4, so he takes 2 points of damage as it slashes across his face, knocking him down to 8 already. And then he needs to make a DR10 toughness test, or he is infected. He's got a strength. No, he's got a toughness of +3, 8, so that's 11. So his body resists the poison. Infected, if I remember rightly from Orc Borg, which means that whilst infected, you can't heal anything. So overnight, you can't do a healing if you're infected. And you can only, so they haven't got any medical kit on them to be able to get rid of infected. If any of them becomes infected whilst in the jungle, they can't heal whilst there, and he's already taken damage. So that is the Tri-Fed, which catches them unaware. We will then have them all make, so what we've got, they've got +1 agility. So Zorlog the priest goes first with the +1 agility, and then it's a 50-50 between Morlock and Grok. Zorlog is going to angrily turn to he'll pop its head and then they won't be able to get any money for it. He's going to turn to the Tri-Fed and go, "I cannot stand your," because they can shout, but he's shouting. I'm not going to shout because Mandy's in the other room working. "I cannot stand your evil stench, you plant of hell," but in like orc talk, so more like, "I'm going to rip your bloody head off. Ah, die!" He's going to scream and shout and point and attempt to do a power to make his head pop. Zorlog has +1 for attack because he's not wearing armor, which means he needs to make an 11. He's got a presence of +3, which means he only needs to roll an 8. A 4, okay, so he screams at it and he fails to trigger it, which means he does a D. So it's not a critical failure, it's just a failure, which means because it's I think even if you fail, you take a D2 damage from screaming. If you succeed, you're alright. If you fail, take D2 damage from feedback. Test presence, use one successfully. If you fail, and you can't use another one for another hour without something going drastically wrong. Alright, and so he'll take a D2 damage. So he'll take 1 point of damage, going down to 7 hit points. And we'll get him to make a presence test. If he fails, he can't do it again. No, he'll pass. Okay, so he still could do it again next round. Okay, that's him. And then we've got Mornock, and Grok are going to try and charge into each other. We'll go Mork is the reds, Grok is the greens. Yeah, reds, Gornok, greens. Okay, Mork dives in first with his D4 knife. He's got a minor, he's got wearing a power rig. So he has a plus, so he's got to roll a 16. He's got a strength of 3, so he needs to roll 13s. He gets exactly 13. He stabs the Tri-Fed, doing 3 points, taking 2 points off the armor, doing 1 point goes through, knocking it from 7 down to 6. The Tri-Fed sways from side to side, not really caring. Then Grok moves in with his auto mangler, which is a DR16 to hit, and he's got -1, so that's a DR17 to hit. He's got a 0 strength, he's got 0 for everything, so he needs to roll 17s. No. Okay, so the mangler comes in and tries mangling. The Tri-Fed might move away and spit at them. Let's say, will he move away and spit? It's highly likely. So the highest of these is 15, which is a yes, he will. So he moves away and he spits at the Zorlog the priest again. Zorlog needs to make a DR10, an agility of +1, so that's a DR9. 14, so Zorlog ducks as this glob of green acidy spit sort of shoots out at him. Zorlog is going to try and make its head pop again. Zorlog needs to do a 12, needs to roll an 11, needs to roll an 8. Fails again, taking 2 points of damage, taking that to a 5. He might die just from his own ineptitude. And we will now say he can't do that one again. So no more powers for the next hour. Then we've got Mork was up front with his stabbing knife. Strength of +3, which would give a 15. We'll drop it by, so that's, oh, I think that misses because he's got a power rig, so he's +4, which would be 16, which would be, he's rolled a 15 because he's got +3 strength. 15, does he have any other pluses? No, so he slashes wildly, but the armor keeps getting in the way and meaning that he keeps missing. Yeah, that's right. He needs to roll 13s basically to hit. And then we've got Grok with the auto mangler, has got roll 16s, 13, no, missing again. So then we've got, so that's their turn. It moved away, it will try and spit again at, this time at Grok, who was the last one to attack. Grok has got 0 agility, is not hindered at all, missing, so it does a D. Then it might just fade into the forest. It might try and escape. It's not got a morale, but it might just try and attack and then disappear. So it's it hit him, didn't it? D4, doing 4 points of damage. He's got a D4 defense for the heavy armor. Blocks the damage as it hits the armor and sizzles and hisses on the armor. That was its turn. Next turn it would run away. Zorlog is going to charge in with his smasher. He's got a 0 for strength, so he just needs to roll 12. 19 hits, doing a D6 damage, doing 3 points of damage. He's got a D2 defense, taking 1 point off, doing 2 points damage, leaving it on 4 hit points. And at that point, one of Mork or Grok can get in. Grok is reds. Mork is the one who can get in. Mork has needs to roll 12 +4 for the power rig, 16 -3, he needs to roll 13s. Natural 20. Natural 20 means that he does 2d4 damage. He does 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage. It can only block a maximum of 2, which would be 5, which is more than it's got. He runs in and grabs the top of its pretty little head with his power rig and just slowly hacksaws through the spike as it thrashes, spitting out green ichor all over the place as he cuts the top of the head off. And then we're going to say that Mork has a tri-fed head, which is 15 tech, TK. He's got 15 tech's worth of Mork head strapped to the outside of his power rig. He lights a cigar and goes, I love it when a plank comes together. Because we all know orcs are farmers. So we will then proceed on, because this was just at the door. We're now going to see if we can find something more interesting. I believe what I suggest is after our second foul, count the result as an automatic weak hit. Which is, what's that? So that is a strong hit, which means we find a special area. So straight after this, we get a strong hit because our DR is 12. We've beat our DR with both, so that means we've found a special area. Let us use a special area from the Maiden's Lament book. 2. The Blooming Mass, a once pristine elf garden, now a choking jungle of predatory flora. Flowers the size of helmets shudder as you pass. Thorns glisten with venom and something moves beneath the moss. Statues of elven heroes and poets are half swallowed by creeping vines. Their stone eyes bulge in terror. The air is thick with sweet rotting perfume, and the deeper one goes, the louder the whispering blooms become. Alright, so we've come into, we have a special area. So basically, because this is more of a jungle type thing, though there are entrances and there is metalwork everywhere, the wildlife has started to go wild around here. So really, it's hard to know where there's an exit and where there isn't an exit. We'll say there's 3 potential ways out of this that we can see. But we now need to know is what is in. So that is the special area. That's what it looks like. But what is in this area? So that's the area description. Now we want our area contents. Because it is within the Maiden's Lament, we'll roll a d8, which is a 1. Demon or bizarre creature. Alright, so we get sprung upon. There is a bizarre creature in here. Let's roll from our main table. What have we got in our main tables? Just our random area tables, not district specific. Enemies. D20. We'll roll one of these. So it's not very. These aren't bizarre. What would be bizarre? We've got Cyber Wraith, which is from the Cyborg. I do have the Cyborg book here. If I have to go and get the Orc Borg, it's up on the bookshelf. That could be, or we could just see like a demon. We could use a demon. Let's use a demon from the core book. Let's use one of the big demons from the core book because it's here, which is a Goo Walker. Hit point 16, morale 10, black steel armor D6, carnage blades D10, special make D3 attacks per round. Might kill the team first hot, which means I'll have to do another area. Alright, we are going to say that wandering around this area there is a Goo Walker. Now we will say, does it spot us? Not that we are going to try and hide, because we don't sneak. Because what do we know? Who sneaks? We know who sneaks, don't we? Little corridor sneaking goblins, snivelling goblin swines. We're not going to run from combat. We want to. We will do. So our TR is 12. Our most noisy orc will be our orc in our power rig, who has an agility of 0. So it is a agility of the lowest orc, which is 0, because he's also in the power rig. Roll versus the TR. I don't think they're listening. I don't think it's listening, but I don't think it's sleeping. So I think it's not a -4 to the roll, but it's also, because they're not listening, it's not a +4 because they're not paying attention. So we've got so it is a 12, so it's a weak hit. There's a 50-50 chance, or we can roll on the Oracle. that it is going to initiate combat, and so we're going to say if it's a 50-50, we'll do 1 dice roll. The Oracle basically has 10 is complicated, anything above a 10 is a success. 10 exactly is complicated, which means that it's still up in the air whether it's going to see us or not, so really it's up to me, and I will say yes, it will see us. We have got a goo walker that is going to start a fight with us, but it's going to do that next session. It's a goo walker fight. We're walking through the jungle. There's as I described that, so special area 1. As I described it, there's lots of old banners. Obviously it was a garden of peace, which has just gone racked and ruined, and it's just completely overgrown. It was some form of religious thing, which is why probably there's a massive demon wandering around in the middle of it. And as we start moving through the bush, trying to be as quietly as possible, we back out of an area because we think we hear something, and back straight into this demon that backs into us. And as it turns, it raises this pipe, and it's got so many arms, it's just bizarre. It's got so many arms, which is why it does 3 attacks, and it will raise it and scream with blood and spittle, and sparking blue energy will come off of it. We're going to let Zlog do his prayers next session as well. He will engage in charge, and at that point he charges. The 3 of the orcs go, right, charge! And they will charge in, and we will credits roll. And we will call that the end of that session, the end of session 5, into the Maiden's Lament. Completely different than the frozen husk of 3-hole. The Maiden's Lament is hot and steamy and full of jungle. Thank you so much for watching. That is Orc Borg. Beautiful book if you can get it in print. If not, you can get it in PDF, and there are multiple companies that will print things out quite prettily for you if you want to do that instead. You can also then get hold of, if you're buying that, you can use the links down below to buy it, and then you can get hold of the GME at the same time, and it should be version 2 that you get hold of. And if you can't see version 2, then you can email me on the email, and I will make sure that whatever it is you're trying to buy it from has version 2. Which includes the Maiden's Lament. It may even include loot tables, but I doubt it. Thank you so much. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not yet a subscriber, do consider subscribing. It does help the channel. It helps us push these stories out to other people, and the algorithm apparently likes it. Equally so, if you would like to make a comment in the bit below there, down there where the comments live, in that little bit down the bottom, which, you might as well. That apparently makes the algorithm really happy too. That makes the algorithm happy too. Also, can I say what makes me quite happy is the Adventurers Guild. That was a nice segue, wasn't it? The Adventurers Guild is a lovely group of people who financially support me. They have joined the membership on the YouTubes. YouTube takes a cut of their money, of course, because it is YouTube. Who would they be if they weren't taking a cut of someone's money? But it financially supports me, which is really cool. Another way to financially support me, apart from buying the GME, which does help, really does help, is you can buy me a coffee if you so wish to. There's coffee, or there's super thanks, you can try them as well. That's enough begging, isn't it? No one likes a begging person, no one likes a YouTuber that begs, but it really does help. In these days, the supporting creatives isn't a bad thing to do. Thank you so much for your time. I shall see you next week for more Orc Borg menacing nonsense. We'll see if they can take down a massive demon. Otherwise, I shall see you for one of the other stories that I'm telling at the moment. Have fun, be creative, be great, as you always are, and have a great time. See ya.